Hi biologists, let's start by looking at the learning objectives for this lesson. At the end of these sections and following the biology syllabus, you should be able to define metabolism and understand solar energy and cellular energy as sources of energy. What does this actually mean? What are we trying to understand? Well, it is straightforward enough. We have to know the definition of metabolism off by heart. We have to understand that solar energy and cellular energy are the energy sources for the chemical reactions in metabolism. Metabolism. Well, the definition of metabolism is that it is the sum of all the chemical reactions in an organism. The sum or the total, or in other words, all the chemical reactions that go on in a living organism. It is the collective term for reactions that take place in living cells. These chemical reactions involve growth, movement, response to stimuli, reproduction, and of course, respiration and photosynthesis. Each of these chemical reactions requires that energy is released or energy is absorbed. So, metabolism is very closely associated or linked with energy conversions. All these chemical reactions or metabolism help to maintain a balanced internal state in an organism, or in other words, metabolism helps to maintain homeostasis. Apart from knowing the definition of metabolism for this section, we also have some extra detail that we might take a look at from previous sections. Remember, there are two types of metabolism. These were anabolic reactions, anabolism, or catabolic reactions, or catabolism. Anabolic reactions was where simple chemicals are changed into complicated or complex chemicals using enzymes and using energy. I like to think of anabolism as USA, using enzymes, using energy. S, taking simple chemicals, making them into complicated ones. That's anabolism, USA. Examples of anabolic reactions were photosynthesis, because we are taking simple chemicals, the ingredients, carbon dioxide and water, and changing them into a complicated chemical called glucose, using enzymes and using the energy of the sun. So you can see how it is a case in point for the definition of anabolism. Another example of anabolic reactions is taking amino acids, simple subunits of protein, to make muscle protein. You might have heard of anabolic steroids taken to build muscle. Another anabolic reaction is taking simple units of glucose to make the more complicated polysaccharide called cellulose. Catabolic reactions. Very similar definition containing similar key points. Catabolic reactions, catabolism, is where complicated, complex chemicals, C and C, not Chanel, C and C, catabolic reactions, complicated chemicals, are changed into simple chemicals, again, using enzymes, but this time releasing energy. Examples of catabolic reactions are respiration, where glucose is broken down to release energy from food, and you are making the simple chemicals, carbon dioxide and water. So you can see clearly how respiration illustrates a catabolic reaction. Digestion of food, the same idea. Breaking down complicated biomolecules into simple subunits like glucose units, fatty acids and glycerol, or amino acids. And decay of dead plants and animals is another catabolic reaction. So we might think of crap. We won't say that too loud though. C for catabolic reactions, example, respiration. A for anabolic reactions or anabolism, and P for photosynthesis. Shh, crap. Sources of energy. What are the sources of energy for all these chemical reactions? Well, solar and cellular energy are the sources of energy for the chemical reactions in metabolism. Solar energy is basically sunlight, and as we've learned before, sunlight is the primary source of energy for life. Everything depends on the sun. Cellular energy, found in cells, is chemical energy. It is the energy stored in the chemical bonds of biomolecules. Biomolecules are molecules or chemicals found in living things. So, chemical energy is the energy stored in the chemical bonds of these chemicals that are found in living organisms. What is the definition of solar energy or sunlight? Well, sunlight is a source of energy that is capable of being absorbed by cellular pigments, colours or pigments in cells, like chlorophyll, for example. Life depends on this energy from the sun. The sun's energy, as we've said, is absorbed by green plants. In photosynthesis, the solar energy or the sunlight is turned into chemical energy which is stored in glucose. This is an energy conversion where solar energy is converted to chemical energy. So in a nutshell, solar energy is one source of energy for the chemical reactions that go on in cells. Remember, we had this idea before. We had the idea of an energy flow in the ecosystem. Every ecosystem needs a constant input of energy to function properly. The sun is the primary source of energy for the planet, and we already learned or got the idea that feeding allows the sun's energy to flow from one organism to another. So as you can see, these ideas are closely linked. What about cellular energy? Well, cellular energy is the chemical energy that's stored in chemical bonds. Cellular energy will be released during metabolism and can act as a source of energy for the chemical reactions. Think about it. Carbohydrates and lipids are cell sources of energy because their chemical bonds contain energy, and this energy is released when their bonds are broken down in respiration. So don't forget, solar energy is trapped in the carbohydrates and other biomolecules, and when their chemical bonds are broken down, then they will release cellular energy, which can be used by the cell in metabolism. So there you have it. Now that we've reached the end of our lesson, have we achieved our objective? Can you define metabolism? Do you understand solar energy and cellular energy as sources of energy?